Wonderful to be back here at Schenectady Community College. I want to acknowledge our host, Dr. Steady Mono, and I want to thank him for welcoming me back once again. This is not my first visit. This is an important institution. I want to thank him. So anybody associated with our Schenectady Community College, let's give yourselves a round of applause. I also want to acknowledge a great friend of mine, a long-serving mayor of 14 years of the great city of Schenectady, Mayor Gary McCarthy. Our Assembly member, Angela Santa Barbara, we've worked together for many years as well. I want to thank you for your participation in today's event. Also, members of my dream team, I have Hope Knight, the President and CEO of Empire State Development. And the woman who makes all the housing happen, Ruth Ann Wisnowski. I want to thank her for being the Commissioner of Housing Community Renewal. For too long, New York has faced a real challenge that touches every single family, every community, every corner of our state, and that is the rising cost of housing. We've seen so many people forced out of their communities, even where they grew up. You grew up, you have your own family, you want to go back to maybe the same neighborhood, the same schools that you had a chance to grow up in, and somehow the world is different. And I particularly think of our millennials who entered the workforce, graduated from college at a time when there was a recession, they weren't hiring, and too many ended up spending years they should have been liberated having to come back home to live in their parents' basement. And for the parents, it wasn't the best time of your lives either. I understand that. But now, these young people have been saving, and they want to have that dream of home ownership, finally get out of the apartment. And it's just too hard. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault because so many of our communities didn't have the ambition or the drive to break through the barriers. And I'll tell you right now, there are countless barriers. I served in local government, like your mayor, for 14 years. I know how a community can stop growth if they want to. But I also know how they can unleash it and liberate it and give hope to communities that want to expand and welcome others, but also have the firefighters and the teachers and the police officers and the nurses and doctors who serve a community to be able to afford to live in it and have housing available to them. And our seniors who invested their entire lives in a community. Maybe they had a little bit of a bigger house, and now they want to stay closer to the grandkids and have a little smaller place, but the housing stock is just not there for them. This is a crisis on steroids, and we've seen it. And this is another reason why people have sometimes had to leave our state, because there's other places that, again, had the ambition to build more housing. And I want to make sure that no one has to leave a neighborhood, no one has to leave our state ever again because we didn't have what it took to break through. Past leaders have tried. Past leaders have tried. They've talked about it. But it also takes some political courage. And I want to thank our legislature for working with me last year as we unveiled the most comprehensive, forward-thinking housing plan since the 1960s. That's a big deal. So we began what I call the pro-housing communities idea, right? Again, I thank Ruth Ann and her team at HCR for the brilliance of this. And the idea is, like, we had a plan a couple years ago that would say, build, build, build. People said, we'll do it, but you have to give us some carrots. We don't really like the sticks. Okay, I'll give you carrots. I gave you a lot of carrots. I gave you $650 million worth of carrots, okay? Okay? Okay. It's a lot of carrots. So, other than rabbits, these communities wanted carrots. So we did it. We had an executive order. We said we'll reward the communities that say we're willing to step up and make more housing possible in all places. And we're not even talking about one kind of housing. We didn't say it had to be low-income housing. We didn't have to say all affordable housing. Just build more housing stock so there's a place that others coming out of their apartments can go to. They have that first little starter home that they can go somewhere else. Just keep building. And we would reward those communities. And we had a simple idea. For communities that are willing to be designated as pro-housing, and we have some criteria, and it's not that hard, we said we'll reward you. Now, it was interesting, last year we had 20 communities step up out of the hundreds and hundreds we have. I said, okay, I just put $650 million on the table. Those 20 communities are going to really enjoy that money, okay? All of a sudden, we got a lot more of me too, I want to do this too. So we're very proud of how this program is unfolding, but that was a voluntary program, and this past year in our budget, we made it basically saying this is a prerequisite to getting this pot of funding through the REDCs. So that's what we're doing, and we've been able to allocate lots and lots of money, and we want to announce, as we announced this last year as part of this housing deal, that this is the first time we've been able to do this. I wanted to strengthen this and make sure we had this funding available. So to date, we have approaching 300 communities, more than the 20 we had, and I want to thank them and congratulate them. They've already been certified. We have even more in the pipeline. And again, this goes back to your city council, your town board. There is a declaration of your principles, and it talks about some growth targets, and we want to make sure we can help you get there as well. So 270 certified now, approaching 300, are saying that we are willing to do this for our state and for our communities. I just want to highlight one place, Columbia County, where housing prices have skyrocketed since the pandemic. We have parts of our state that were undiscovered, except by local residents, until the pandemic, when a lot of people fled New York City, and they came up the Hudson Valley, they came along these Erie Canal communities. So what happened was that just drove up demand for housing, and people could charge more, and that just priced so many families out of existence. And so we wanted to make sure that we have done everything we can, and what we've done is included them. And I want to thank them for stepping up, because they've now demonstrated the commitment that it takes to do exactly what we're talking about. So I wanted to have the state do our part as well. What we have is through the regional councils, we've awarded more than $320 million for projects, and talk about all the municipalities, 23 municipalities within Columbia County have decided to do it. This supports $100 million for our pro-housing communities. That's a lot of money that's been allocated now, and I want to announce some of those projects today. What we've done is combine money from the Downtown Revitalization Program, which I love, the New York Forward Program, the Mid-Hudson Momentum Programs, and we're going to be announcing an additional $250 million worth of projects going to those communities that have stood up and said, I will do this. And so I want to talk about what this actually means. We are talking about creating more amenities. You know, when you build more housing, you need more green space. You need more parks. You might need some more infrastructure. You might need some roads. You might need some more sewers. All this goes with growth. We understand that. So we're not saying grow without providing that lifeline of support. We're going to give you that support. And also making sure that we're investing money, like right here in Schenectady, the Community Action Program, what they're taking as a vacant lot and turning into a neighborhood hub with housing that's affordable and childcare. That's the power of this program. We're not telling you how to do this. We're saying, you bring us your vision, and we'll make it happen. In Utica, we're investing $3 million in the Thrive Cornhill project, turning 2 vacant lots into a vibrant community impact community. It'll have a gym, it'll have a grocery store, and of course, it'll have housing. That's what I'm talking about. For a smaller community, this is everything. This can take blight and turn it into something that is magnificent. So we're very, very excited about this. The city of Poughkeepsie is receiving $1.6 million for their partnership with Habitat for Humanity for an innovative housing program. They're going to use modular construction. And the modular housing, I think about this, or I think about people who live in trailer parks. My mom and dad used to live in a trailer park. Those trailers are still there, and they are just, I wanted to say no one would want to live there today. They're very much substandard. They look dangerous. You know, the roofs collapsed during a snowstorm. I had to rescue a cat one time, true story, a couple years ago. So this is not what we're talking. We're talking about beautiful modular housing that you don't even know is modular. It fits right in with the neighborhood, and you can do it so much faster. So they're in Poughkeepsie, they're going to build over 50 new homes like this, and create opportunities for seniors and others. And also, this is so important to me, adding childcare as well. This is what a genuine community does. They talk about who they want to attract and how they're going to support them. In the village of Dryden, we're helping transform an historic Main Street building to restore its character and new life. We have so many charming buildings. Right here in Schenectady, my gosh, you have such a bounty of beautiful historic buildings. But over time, they get a little worn down, the facades get worn, and people can't invest the money into them. They start to telegraph a community in decline. So those are the buildings you target because they have a story, they have character, they add charm to our downtowns. And this is exactly what I did in my small downtown at a time when so many businesses were closing, the jobs were leaving town. It was a tough economic time, but you never want those buildings to lose their luster because the ones that have been there for 100, 150 years, you want them there for the next century as well, so you invest in them, and that's what they're doing in Dryden. On Long Island and Riverhead, they're creating a new amphitheater and public park along the water, and that'll help protect against flooding as well. Think about how you can build resiliency into these projects, not just the housing, but you have to make sure that these housing is going to be protected against Mother Nature while providing new space for community events as well. Close at home, Art Omni and Shannon will have expand their world-class cultural destination, new gallery provisions, and in Troy we're extending the Riverwalk to make connections between people. All of these, these all sound great. But I want to add even more. I'm adding $110 million to the project in our 2026 budget. So what I'm saying is even more carrots, okay? We really like our carrots here. That includes $100 million to support infrastructure, $10.5 million to help pro-housing communities with vital planning and technical assistance. You know how important this is? A lot of our smaller towns or our cities are busy with other projects. They need to have technical assistance, and they can't always afford to hire that person. The planning individuals, the people with expertise in how to revitalize downtowns and bring housing. So we're going to put together a fund in our budget that'll help local communities be able to envision what they want to do, put it on paper, and put together a plan that'll be successful. That's how you build communities from the bottom up. So that's the big picture. That's how you support your communities. That's how you attract more people. That's how you get people who go to school at this great college to be able to stay here. Because I know they want to. They know the quality of life here is second to none. Communities like this all over New York. But if you don't have that house, if you don't have that apartment, then you have to leave. And it is tragic to me. Families should stay together. Children should grow up around grandparents whenever possible. I say this as the grandmother of a 2-year-old who lives in Washington, D.C. My entire family, my siblings, all have raised their kids in another state because the jobs had left upstate New York during tough times. It still hurts to know that I should have nearly 21 nieces and nephews here in New York, not in other states. That's what we're trying to stop, my friends. We saw what this does, but also we can turn it around. It's not too late. It just takes the will. And our budget, what we put forth with this additional money to reinforce how important pro-housing communities are. This is how you say what your values are, who you're prioritizing, what matters to you. That's what a budget document is all about. So we're fighting for our families. We're trying to make life more affordable for our families. And if you could look at the 2 biggest expenses for a family, it is the cost of housing and it's the cost of childcare. So we're putting more money back in people's pockets. We're trying to help with the cost of raising children with $1,000 for young families with a little child and $500 for school age, covering the cost of school lunches and breakfast to take that cost off of struggling families. Inflation rebate because you all paid too much money. And how about a middle-class tax cut on top of it? That's how we drive affordability here in the state of New York. And I'm working with our legislature to get that over the finish line. So, to all the communities that have not stepped up, it's time to eat your vegetables, time to get introduced to the carrots, and you won't look back. I mean, this will make you healthier. It'll make you stronger, just like your vegetables do. And I want more communities to step up, but those who have already seen the light, who know the value of this. I want to congratulate them on the success. We'll be making many, many more announcements over time of the communities of how we're going to implement their vision for the future, because they had the courage to stand up and say, yes, yes, we build more housing. So congratulations to all of our recipients today. Well done. I want to introduce someone who knows what it takes to build a strong, resilient community, to invest in downtowns, to improve the quality of life, to improve public safety. And literally this community, since I've been coming up here with great frequency since 2014, I have seen over a decade the influence of Gary McCarthy on this downtown. And to me, it is so inspiring to see what a fellow local elected official can do with the power that's been entrusted in him as a leader. And I want to congratulate him on his success here, but also look forward to hearing his words. Mayor McCarthy.
Governor, thank you and welcome back to Schenectady. I want to extend a warm welcome to my colleagues in local government, business partners, finance, the real estate industry that is so critical in terms of implementing this vision of our great governor. You know, Governor Hochul was a leader in identifying the problem and the inequities that were evolving in the housing market. And so this pro-housing program is a great umbrella that challenges local communities, it creates opportunities, and it's transformative in terms of local development. Ruth Ann is here. We're on a first name basis from the Commissioner of DHCR. She's here on a regular basis. I have to tell you one mistake we both made, Governor. We were at an announcement doing a significant project in one of the neighborhoods, and we finished up, and we've recognized all the people there. And these are complex deals. There's financing components, there's site control, there's different, and we both realized we've gone down the list of all the people we've acknowledged, and we did not acknowledge our governor. And so we both caught at the same time, and so it was our little secret. But so I'm here today to apologize on my oversight, and it was really not, Ruth Ann did everything perfect, and I should have been more attentive to those details. But Governor, thank you. The project you're announcing today here in Schenectady is significant. It continues the build out within our community. These are transformational projects, again, that we talk about the high level, the money that's involved, but the real significance is the difference that they make in individuals and families' lives and the dignity that they're allowed to have and the stability that creates in the families that transcends other problems in the community. So, Governor, I thank you again for your leadership. We look forward to working with you as we go forward to continue to implement these transformational projects, and thank you. And now with that, Governor's got a great budget. Sometimes mayors put out great budgets. Sometimes the legislative body views it a little bit different. Don't be afraid to advocate for things that you need within your communities. You know, and that state budget makes such a big difference. And I want to introduce now a true partner, a friend of Schenectady, a leader within the state of New York, Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to join you here at SUNY Schenectady. I always love to visit the college, and it's even better when we have an announcement like this to celebrate this initiative. It's going to bring transformational investments to communities like ours and across New York State. I want to thank Governor Hochul. Let's give her another round of applause for joining us. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership, your dedication to ensuring every family in our state has access to the resources that they need. This commitment today is strengthening our communities and investing in our future, and it's going to make a big difference. This funding is about more than just housing. It's about building hope. It's about creating communities where families can live, work, and raise their children with dignity and opportunity. It's about making sure that people in every corner of our state has access to safe, affordable housing and the support to help them succeed. These projects represent our shared commitment to making life better for all New Yorkers and ensuring that no one is left behind. I grew up right here in Schenectady, Mount Pleasant. I tell this story a lot. Both my parents were immigrants. They came to this country looking for a better life. They settled here in Schenectady. My father worked at General Electric for 32 years. It was his first and only job. And like so many families, when he started out back then, we didn't have much. There wasn't much to go around. We all lived in one house, my grandparents, my aunt. Nobody spoke English. I didn't speak English till I was in first grade. We just didn't have to. It was a different time back then. Families like ours back then didn't have the resources that we're able to provide today. There was no child care. My family, my relatives, they were the child care. My father worked 2 jobs. I remember he would come home from General Electric and look for extra hours, trying to pick up trying to make some extra money here and there. We struggled, but we made it work. But today we have the opportunity to make things better for families so they don't have to face those same struggles. And that's why this initiative that's announced here today, this funding, this investment is just so important. It starts with investments in affordable housing, childcare, and family support services. These are the tools that families need so that we can build a bright future. These investments are investments that have a real lasting impact on the lives of so many people. This is so much more than housing. It's about creating neighborhoods that support people. Right here in Schenectady, as the mayor said, we're seeing how this vision can become a reality. We've seen it time and time again. When people come together, we can do great things and we can help and support one another. A new project here in Schenectady will bring together housing, childcare, and essential services all in one place, creating opportunities for families to thrive. Across our state, projects like this are transforming unused spaces into vibrant hubs where people can live, work, and grow. And today, we're not just solving problems, we're building the future. These projects are setting a new standard for what it means to creating a thriving, family-centered community. They show us what's possible when we prioritize people and invest in their potential. So again, I want to thank Governor Hochul for her leadership and for recognizing the importance of initiatives like this and what an impact it can have on communities like ours. I want to thank everyone here today, our leaders, advocates, partners who are helping make this vision a reality. Together, we're creating communities where families can grow and thrive, not just for today, but for generations to come. I want to thank you all for joining us. Let's give the governor and the mayor another round of applause. I think that's it. Thank you for joining us.
That concludes our program this morning. Thank you for attending.